6:32. We don't have minutes yet for our Saturday, December 17th meeting. I will have them ready for our next meeting. It'll be quite simple, but we will have the recorded minutes. We'll start with the Langdon request for the SRO services discussion. Everyone have a chance to read that email that's addressed to me.
Question?
Amy?
So just a quick question, do they not have one now? Do we have one? Where are we at on that? We used to have one, then I think it went away, and then do we still have one now, or do
Have one more.
an SRO?
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah.
So is that a change in dollar amount? Explain to me, I don't understand. Is it not in the budget still?
The budgeted amount is increased by $10,000 from $70,000 to $80,000 in this proposed budget, FY25 budget.
Okay.
So there's 80 in the budget now.
Correct.
Is it new money or is it just up from 70 to 80?
Up from 70 to
Okay.
80. It has existed in the
But
budget.
now they're looking for 114 or whatever this number is.
There's a,
I mean,
yeah, so there's a change to that. So right now, my understanding is that the state police are supposed to be filling that need for the SRO, and they can't be fulfilling, they're not available, they're not here as much as the administration would like them to be here. So the administration, so Jonathan, Coffin Langdon, has been filling and doing whatever that role is, and I don't know how often that's been happening, but that he's been doing that role. My understanding is that, the administration wants to have somebody here 5 days a week, and they asked the town of Langdon, because the person has to have jurisdiction in Langdon, so it has to be a Langdon town cop, it has to be a state cop, or it has to be a sheriff.
It's a very old discussion, but I have a lot of information about.
Okay, this is what I
I know,
understand.
because there's
So-
nobody around that knows anything anymore, but go ahead.
So,
So,
so that is why it's my understanding why the administration asked the town of London, and that's how we got the number that we have.
I have a ton of notes on this. Somewhere. We looked into that way
Yeah.
back, because Langdon, we looked into this before I left, like, I don't know, 12 years ago, 13, I don't know, 9, whatever. And part of that's true about the jurisdiction. Part of it is not. It can be, jurisdictional coverage can be waived between two of the towns within the district. But at the point in time way back, they didn't want to do that. And I don't know that anybody would want to pick it up because everybody's shorthanded right now. At that point in time, Walpole was willing to pick up the coverage.
how are we hampered if we use a private security firm? What can't they do?
They can't carry a firearm
Okay,
on premise.
okay. Anything else? Probably
To
don't
my,
have arrest powers either, right?
correct, to my knowledge, when we checked that, because we did check that, we checked private services, we checked state police, we checked what the laws were about jurisdictional, because that was always the reason why it was always had to be Langdon, when Langdon didn't even have a full police force.
What are you talking
Well, no, I mean, they didn't have, the only full-time officer they had was our SRO here at the high school, right, Rose. And so, so we looked into that, there are
And Ray.
legal, what's that?
Sorry, Rose and Ray, right? Ray left.
Well, Ray was part-time. At that point. And so was your police chief. So there's a whole host of notes about that at the central office. There should still be somewhere. I mean, I think Misty was there when this was going on. But anyway, that's the historical background, is that there were other options at that point in time. But again, nobody has cops, so right now, right? You know, nobody has full complement, I don't think. So we do, Walpole does, okay. And Charlestown may,
Yeah.
no, I'm not sure.
My question from this, it just looks like the whole entire chief's salary is going into the SRO position, so you're not gonna have a chief then in Langdon.
I don't know what that,
Right.
I
That's what it sounds
Except in the
like.
summer.
And the other part of it was, well, you don't know, because you have to look at the contract, right? Because we had discussions about the contract and the length of the contract, on how many days we were gonna reimburse Langdon for at that point. And this was when Rose was here. And so, because we didn't feel it was appropriate for the school district to have to reimburse 260 workdays when we are only having an SRO here, 180, there's 180 school days.
Right.
Plus Rose did some other, you know, programming, she did programs with the kids, that we did reimburse for, but the pre-existing contract back then was not for 260, it was not for the whole entire cost of,
Well, this one's proposed as 10 months, but I'd have to calculate the days. Sounds like more than 180.
yeah. You probably pay him for a vacation, I don't know,
No.
so
But
it would
the
be
other
good,
thing is, the 80,000, you can hire a 2 or 3 year experienced officer, if you can get him, for 50,000, 51,000.
maybe.
If I'm hiring him at that,
Or we could cut the SRO from the budget,
or cut the SRO completely.
Well,
which is,
I don't
which,
think
because there's a lot of details, a
We
lot
can't
of
cut the
research.
SRO from the
No, no.
budget.
I know, and I know under purview,
But the month.
but I'd like to say, but there's a lot of research out there now that is showing that SROs are not benefiting educational services. They're criminalizing educational services. And it's the free learning aspect of it, there's a whole host of what's going on with it, and it's becoming a pipeline as we are marking children and pipelining into the prison system, so to speak, but the bottom line is it's not effective. And there was an SRO on duty at Parkland, and how did that?
I really don't wanna go down these pipelines,
I
they're not
understand.
relevant to the
Well,
discussion.
I get it, but that's my aspect, is I would just like us to be able to defund it.
Yeah, yeah.
So the motion you can make.
I think it requires a vote of the district. Because it was a vote of the district populace that put it in. It was a special warrant article. So I think we need some research on this one, but it was a special warrant article that was voted on by all the people of the school district to put the SRO in place. And so I'd be interested to know if legally, does it have to be voted out? I don't know. I don't remember
I wouldn't think it's in perpetuity. Certainly the 1 year in question, absolutely.
The question, I don't. The question is, we don't have any authority to take an SRO out of the positions.
Right.
Not
anything like that.
specifically, correct.
But the question is, do we take 136,184 and not put it in the budget? It doesn't sound like it's in the budget, and just leave it level funded like it has been. Right?
Well,
Well, part of it's in the budget.
Right, the
Yeah,
80,000.
The 80,000, just what I'm
Right.
saying, leave it level funded. And
Right,
not put the 136,000 in,
The additional
the
56.
additional 50-something thousand. Right?
But so they're only
Well, they're only
asking
asking
for
for
14, it's an additional
13, yeah.
34.
It's 33 and change.
Well, if they take it for 12 months,
And it's not level funded, because it's gone from 78.
yeah, right. The
But I know what you
80,000, but, yeah. In their cost, they say that for 12 months, they're using the 136, 184.
Mr. Chairman, why don't you just solicit a motion, see if there's a motion to add the 33,486.
So, and SROs are not mandated or required. Just put that within the educational system either.
No. There's many school districts that don't have them.
Right.
A lot of them depends on what the response time is in the nearest police department. and
And
how
that's
it's
our
done.
problem. It's the legislation.
That, and I'm sure Verone can speak to that, because you were here when it was voted in.
Yeah, it's not good. We're isolated. Last time is poor, understandably so.
But at this time, we will ask for a motion to support the additional 34,000 for the requested amount of the SRO position at the high school. Is anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Amanda,
I'll second it to bring it to the table.
open for discussion. This would increase the budget by 34,000 to reflect the Langdon Select Board's request for a full-time 10-month position. Salary, benefits, retirement.
I think it's important that regardless of whether or not it's required or mandated by the state, this is a request that the administration has asked for. They want somebody here 5 days a week. Is it cheaper to do it somewhere else and get a different one? Yes, it could be, but we don't have the purview or wherewithal to make those decisions or to find those answers. So, that is what they've asked for. I think that there's value in this position, so that's why I think we should do it.
I think there's value in the position, but I believe that there's other ways to get that position filled than at this level, at a chief salary. You can go out and hire, the school district can hire a 3-year police officer for a lot less.
District can't hire, it has to be the town.
Like even the town, even Langdon can hire another police officer in the town for far less money and get reimbursed from the school district for the person. Right, that's what the 80,000 in the budget was all about, right?
I don't think the 80,000 was just for. I think the 80,000 was what had to do with the position before they asked Langdon to do it.
Right, because we were paying the state police or
Right.
county police, I don't know which one it was, but they were here. But again, I think for $80,000 or for 114,000. For $80,000, you could get a regular police officer for probably $20,000-$30,000 less. And have him here full time and be on the Langdon force, so you get an extra person on your force for not consuming the chief.
Is this cost included in one of the methods, or is it in the high school? Do you know?
I think it's a high school expense.
2190.
Yeah, that's
2190.
At the high school?
Joe?
I was just gonna ask, did anybody look into the county? Did you contact the county and see if they'd be interested in the position for maybe less than 114,000?
That's our
It has to be Langdon.
It has to, I
Has to
thought
be
you
the
said.
town, the town of Langdon has to make arrangement or waive. If they, I think, and I don't remember and it may have changed, because I haven't been here in 8 years. But the last time I know that we looked into what the options were, it was that Langdon has purview because it's because the district is in their town.
But if Langdon didn't want
But I
to do it,
think
or,
there was a provision where Langdon could waive and allow another formal police department jurisdiction to come in.
Yeah. I don't know how that works, but it's a couple of years back, Walpole was asked to look at this as well.
Anybody want the liability?
And I don't know, we turned it down because it wasn't economical to do it, but.
Right.
yeah, no, I was just curious because we are part of Cheshire County.
Yeah,
The
I
county.
don't know how it works.
If you think they're
No.
cheaper.
I could tell you the response to the county.
Oh, Langdon's in Sullivan.
Yeah.
I
That's even
assume we
worse.
have a sheriff somewhere.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Okay, you could ask
I
them.
don't think we have a lot. Do we know how long, yeah, we don't even know how long it's been out, right? It's been, has it been since Rose left?
No, so again, I don't,
Yeah, yeah.
so
How much you do know?
I'll tell you what I know, okay, and then we can go from there. So, at one point, the position was funded around $90,000. Rose was here. I don't know exactly where all, it was grant funded. I don't know exactly all of what happened. But then Rose ended up leaving and
She
the
was
position,
fully funded here when she left.
and then she ended up leaving and then, so the amount in the budget ended up going down. Because then something was like part-time and there was different, you know,
Okay, iterations.
right, of it. And now, the 70 or the 80,000 or whatever, the 70,000 has to do with the state and what we were paying for, I believe, what we're paying for the state officers to do it, but they can't, because it's short-staffed, whatever, all that stuff, and so that's what I know. So I don't know exactly the details that we're looking for, but now you know everything, so.
Could be.
Alyssa?
So does Langdon have 2 police officers?
No,
They only have 1,
correct,
and it's only, so that's when they say, as full-time Langdon chief of police.
right.
So is there some sort of compromise to be made, because they can't spend 7 to 2 here and not be available to the rest of the town of
You've
Langdon?
got to hire another one.
So if they're hiring a second person to serve the high school, are we going to actually get the chief of police, or are we going to get the first or second year officer? And if that's the case, are we on the hook for that 80,000, which is not comparable to a first or second year or third year even? So is there room to negotiate that?
I think that's a question for the school board to ask the administration. I think that's a legitimate
Yeah.
question. I think the school board needs to have that discussion with the administration. I don't know that again, it sucks, because I don't know that it's a discussion for the budget committee. to
When's your
have.
next meeting?
What's that?
When's the school board's next meeting?
January 8th.
8th, no, because we're meeting before that. I was gonna say table it for a week.
Yeah, I know.
Table it for a week puts us still in front of your meeting.
Well,
That
we
would
just
help.
make a decision based on what we know here.
Yeah, I understand.
It's 34,000. There are other things in the budget at 34,000 that can probably be cut in order to accept that. I mean, that's why I asked if it was method one.
But it's not high school, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know if it makes
It's method
sense.
6.
I put it on the list for
No, it's high school.
like toward the end of the
400.
meeting as we go through and see what other things that could be cut or not cut. And then say, okay, looks like we're down far enough, put that back in again. Do something like that instead of making it an absolute.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I printed just the 1,100 and 1,200 account and started acid testing Social Security, Medicare, and the New Hampshire retirement system, although the latter just for teachers. And unless I'm doing something wrong, I think we're $138,000 short. And that's just 1,100 and 1,200. I didn't test them all.
I did the whole entire budget and I met with Lori and I gave her all the information.
And what'd you come up with?
I think she put the statement on the bottom of one of our new documents that she had tested everything.
Well, this is version 1.4. Am I working with the wrong version?
Nope,
That's the right.
I can't answer that for you. All I can say is I did it for the entire budget and I shared it with her.
Okay, you shared it with her.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I came up with $138,000 today. I could test a couple with you, you and I, certainly.
I'm not testing anymore. It's not my
I
job.
will tell you, some of the lines were perfect.
Yeah.
Which actually frightened me a little more. Because I thought if it was some kind of a system problem, it would flow through the entire, but there are some lines that are spot on to the dollar. There are other lines that are way off.
So I get that, and I understand how to acid test things. So the other parts that we have to understand when we acid test is that, do we take into consideration any 403Bs on any of the Social Security or Medicare pieces? Do we take into consideration that, anything that would adjust the dollar amounts of what you're doing?
Yes, although I know where you're going with that. 403B wouldn't be one of them because they're still subject to Social Security and Medicare. I think what you're referring to is, does the system know to adjust for 125s?
Yeah, cap 125s, 403Bs come off.
No,
Yeah, we do off of Medicare.
I think so, but okay, I mean, maybe change,
Well, health
Business,
insurance,
health
health insurance,
insurance,
yeah,
yeah.
health, dental,
health, dental, and, the medical, we put money aside for health.
403Bs do. Because you push them in order to save.
Saves you
Cost.
federal, saves you federal taxes, I don't think it saves you social
Okay,
security,
all
medical.
right, I have to look at that. I don't do
Definitely.
payroll anymore.
Definitely federal tax,
Yeah,
but not
okay.
social security, medical.
I don't do payroll anymore. So
Do you know if the system is smart enough to test for the 125s?
That's my understanding, yes. I don't use the system to project. They are using the system here to project.
I mean, I've got differences all over the place. And it's only 11 and 1200. I don't know what else to tell you.
I'm gonna take the budget as it's built.
Version 1.4.
That's all I can do.
Yep.
And so, and move forward with it.
So the motion on the table is to accept the Langdon proposal of $114,000 for the school resource officer position. Any further discussion on the motion?
It's for an addition of 34. Which,
For an additional 34,000 to be added to the budget.
33 change, but yes.
No further discussion? Call for a vote. Show of hands or roll call?
A yes vote means you're accepting that additional $34,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Roll call vote. Michael,
Yes.
Jamie,
no,
Amanda,
Yes.
Chris,
No,
No,
No, abstain. That's permitted.
you're permitted. The motion fails
doesn't mean it can't be brought back.
at this time. It's clear that we do not have the information to go on for the full board to support this at this time.
you can come back.
Have you shared this document and did you push it forward? The one that you highlighted,
Did I do well?
push it forward to Gabe or to administration?
I gave copies tonight to the board.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
All board members have it as of tonight. I will
Okay.
finish it the last day or so.
Okay, thank you.
This is, I got this from you in terms of an idea.
Oh, yeah,
You said to me, well, we kept asking for, plus or minus 10,000, wasn't forthcoming.
yeah,
And you said, well, just take the Excel thing and sort it, and so that's what I did.
okay,
And then I highlighted it. So I took my cue from you.
okay.
Unfortunately, I can't tell you why they owe, which is why all my notes mostly say why, how,
Alright.
But at least we can look at them.
I can probably answer some of them.
It seemed based on the magnitude. Collectively, we ought to be able to answer all of them. Any one of those questions could come off the floor. And most people answer.
Just because some of them line up with the additions and cuts, the additions
Oh, yeah.
and cuts,
I imagine some of them do make, yes.
these documents.
Couple of my notes do say cut, so I mean, that's what I was thinking too.
So we'll take up the budget discussion. Steve, would you like to explain this document you handed out tonight?
Yeah, it's just, I took the 1.4 budget that was on the drive. I took the Excel version of it. And I sorted it based on the difference column. So that all the big negatives floated to the top, and then all the big positives floated to the bottom. And even though it's 112 pages or whatever it is, I only made a copy with 2 A's. With the big ups and the big downs, and I left all the rest of it. The document's this thick. But I didn't see any point in showing you the center of it, so And I wasn't about to make this many copies, but like in my little printer, so. So yeah, this is the first page and a half really, are things that are down. And then the next 3 pages, or not a little less than 3 pages. No, actually, a little more than 3 pages. Anyway. Be working with some orange to see. Well, yeah, this is basically what we asked for a couple of months ago. That still hasn't been forthcoming, which is, please show us all the large variances in both directions with an explanation as to what they are. So at least I got the numbers for you. I tell you, I don't have the explanation for you, but in most cases, at least Jamie may have a little more. But at least you can see where all the big ups and big downs are. And the biggest up is something called wages SVP services. And it's $234,000. And I don't know what it is. What is SVP?
Speech and language pathology.
Speech, SLP, beg your pardon. Speech and language pathology is up 224,000 and change. And wages teacher at Charlestown Middle School. Now, some of those I know are sweeps between, because of the North Charlestown thing. So some of that money that came out of North Charlestown that went into Charlestown Middle School and Charlestown Primary. So some of them are explained in that regard. That's what would happen.
So $202,000 are SLP positions that were in ESSER 3.
Well, as long as you mention ESSER. I
So,
made this comment. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I made this comment a couple of months ago that everybody knew ESSER grants would go away. By then, they were COVID. This time, you get any grant, regardless of what it is. There are grants that are in perpetuity. Title I's been around forever. There's a couple other ones, especially at IDEA, that, you know, they've been around 30, 40, 50 years. You know, you can count them. They're gonna be there. And then there are grants that aren't. There are grants that come and then they go. And the nature of using grants should be the things that are in perpetuity, you can use in that manner, and things that are not in perpetuity, you need to use for one-time expenses, or things that you know will go away, or even if you are trying to remediate something, the remediation has an endpoint. So I'm personally, with the exception of Zandra's positions, because she said that she's using those positions to bring down the added district placement costs, I would like her to demonstrate that for us. But in terms of the ESSER funds that are finding their way into the general fund, except for Zandra's, I'm not real comfortable with that. It's not to say some of those positions won't end up in the general fund, but I think the administration is going to have to find out that if those positions are that important, then they are by definition more important than some of the other things we're doing. And we don't get to control, and we know this, you know, what positions are cut and stay, et cetera, et cetera. So my inclination is to say that, except for Zandra's, I think there's 3 of them. I'd like to make a motion, the rest of them don't find their way into the general fund. I don't know how much money that is, but in principle, I don't think those positions should find their way into the general fund. That's not to say that some of them won't, by virtue of the administration making different decisions. We don't control that, I know that, and I accept it. I don't know what that number is, unfortunately. Maybe there's a document that shows us what that number is. But I gotta tell you, just about everything we've seen so far is damn disjointed that I don't, you know. Maybe there's a document there, hang on a second. And even then, I don't know if these are all in costs or just salaries or.
Well, we've seen this one.
Yeah, there is this one document.
Well, right, and that feeds into that.
Well, maybe Jamie, you can help us out here.
I can try.
If I wanna leave the positions that Zandra brought in that were designed to make out-of-district tuition costs go away so that they'd be a wash. Okay,
It's the same stuff. It's just-
Zandra said she cut like $300,000 in out-of-district tuition. So if she's bringing in $300,000 a position where there's a cause and effect there, that's okay, because even if it's a wash, I'd rather the kids be here than have to go out. It seemed to make more sense to me. Although you heard me question her, are you making sure that the children are coming back are the ones where we're on hook 100%? I don't want to save the state line here,
Decided.
you know? If we're bringing back a job where we're getting a lot of state aid, it's pointless for us to spend more money and then diminish our state aid and have it be a net cost to us. But if we're bringing back the right students, it was very uncomfortable when I made that statement, but I'm sorry. This is, there is a dollar element to this. We are spending $35 million a year, and we can't be blind to it. So I'd like Xandra to demonstrate in her case, how the position she's pulling in from ESSER is offset by added district placements. And if she can dollar for dollar, then certainly that makes sense. But the rest of them, I can't support it.
So I'm gonna say, and it could be wrong, but I'm gonna make
I guess that.
a educated guess. I'm gonna say that if you look on the summary of changes in positions, I'm hoping it's been reviewed recently. There's a second document on the back that's new. Okay, but I have a question on the second document because I'm not sure. I think it's missing 2 positions up top. I'm not positive. I have to check that out, okay? So based on the summary of changes in position, which was reviewed but not necessarily updated or changed, I'm gonna say the M6 on the top, where it totals 310,466. In the last column, it says total by location, 310,466, M6.
Sorry, I'm seeing that. Oh, yes, I am.
M6
Yeah.
moved from ESSER,
Yeah.
says SLP, focus, behavioral.
You think those are all related to that?
Because they're an M6, yes, because method 6 is shared, it's for shared programming.
Yeah, but her program that she was referring to that saved the added district tuition cost was focused, right?
I think so, there's
Okay.
there's two though, there's
There's
2,
another program besides focus?
yes, there is.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to identify what it is.
And so it's somewhere, it's in the documents. Is it leap? Yeah,
Yes, leap now.
There's steps.
We have leap now, but if she wants to expand leap, then that's what's going to enable us to bring students back, then sure.
Then there were 2 other positions which I'm not sure they survived, which is in the gray box. Because that's on the second document on the back where it says crosswalk, which we asked for, and that's a brand new document. That has those 2 positions on it. Okay, so this document shows 6 positions going into method 6. Whereas the older document was showing 2, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, it's more than 6. It's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This shows 8, right? 8. Whereas the prior document that has been looked at, but again, it hadn't been updated. I don't know if it's complete.
So in the package that Lori sent out, there's another ESSER fund document.
It's the one on the back that says crosswalk. That's the newest.
The one that I have is ESSER positions,
Okay,
and it doesn't match up with anything. There's
what's the date on it?
the 24th of December.
Do we know what the dark shading means?
The dark shading means they were put into the budget. That's an old document.
This stuff.
No, the new one has got blue shading in it too, from Lori.
This is dated the 24th, I believe.
Yeah,
Okay, well, we had that document before.
Okay.
well, yeah, but it doesn't line up with anything.
Shut,
The blue things that are supposed to be in the budget come up to $449,943. And this is showing 322,938.
So I understand that some of the ESSER positions will in fact go away.
Oh, I'm not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like 9 ESSER positions are supposed to go away.
Go away.
go away.
We asked that question at the last meeting.
I thought it was
The
in
answer
her
that got
hands, but.
was elimination.
Mhm. Is it in her answer somewhere?
Yeah, it was on the drive.
Look at the document.
Response to 12-17 budget committee questions, I think it's in there.
Right, so this was 12, this was the document that was highlighted from 12, which I asked the question.
Yeah, and this is the 12-4 document,
1224,
12.4, yeah. So,
which includes this.
right, that's in there. It's that one, right? For sure.
Yeah.
And that's right. Right, it's the central office. That's right.
Yeah, but all of those positions that are highlighted there, if you look at the document I gave you
Yeah,
here,
right.
not that page, this side.
Yeah,
So Walpole,
right.
I was only talking about method 6, so Walpole
Right.
attendance area,
Yeah.
interventionist is there.
Right.
Behavioral is up here for interventionist for Alsted, that's that one.
So let me just see where. Where's Walpole again?
So this is Alsted,
All right, so I'll send it.
Alsted, Charlestown,
so here-
Central, M6,
here-
Walpole.
Is in at 87 and this one has it at 81 now. That's why none of the numbers are,
Yeah,
Coming
and it's
together.
hard to do this, we really don't know what we're looking at,
yeah,
but in
Yeah.
principle, I'll go on record that in principle,
yeah,
my intent would be that none of the ESSA positions find their way into the general fund, other than the ones that support Sanders
yeah,
offset to reducing tuition. And only to the extent that they do in fact reduce tuition. One was to spend $300,000 to save $250 in tuition, might as well just send them out, you know, if that's the case. So, but assuming it's a wash, or better, hopefully better, then, you know, I doubt it, of course. But the rest of them,
There are some of these that are required by law.
that's good.
it's okay.
They weren't required by law before us.
Not necessarily, no. The speech and language pathology, there are new students in requiring those services.
I know we sound like a broken record, but we're not looking at the positions. We're just saying that
Right.
this is a source of reducing the budget.
Right.
The dollar amount, and then the school district can pick anything they want. They can put people back in, they can put all the interventionists back in, they
Staff
can put.
reductions rather than us identifying.
Right, we don't identify the staff reductions, we only identify the dollars potential.
Okay, so on the potential dollars, where we stand now,
I don't know where we stand now, that's the problem.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, the budget as built is up 999,722. Okay,
And Jamie, I appreciate all the work you've done, to come up with that number.
that is what it is, okay?
I'm thrilled that you did all that work, because it's the only way we're gonna move forward.
Well, the only reason it looks like it's 1.8 again is
Yeah.
because the prior year's comparison
Right.
number is not complete.
Right, what I'd like to see, like to go in the minutes at least, is that this budget committee is trying to figure out what the school district's budget is, what the administration's budget is, and we have not been providing clear information to be able to ascertain what is the budget. And I think that should be important, that get in our minutes, and the school board members that are here should take it back to the school board. That, you know, the budget committee, mainly Jamie and Steve, have worked their butts off to try to come up with what we're looking at as a number.
so let's take a moment and let that be reflected in the record.
Yeah.
It's on the first paper that I passed up. Maybe I give you, I can't.
Yeah.
Take a breather,
Yeah, and just one more input to that, if you're ready. I think it's a disservice to this committee not to have a default budget to us
Well-
at this point in time.
You noted.
Thank you.
Chris?
Can we make motions?
We have an open motion.
You have one. We do, yeah.
Well, I guess.
Well, we don't have, it's a nebulous one, because we didn't have a price on it.
Nebulous.
I thought you made a motion to eliminate the ESER fund, the ESER positions. from the-
Except the ones that's Andrew.
Right.
There wasn't a motion.
It was a statement.
Oh,
it was-
oh,
it
I'm
was a
sorry, I
statement.
thought it was an actual.
I'm not sure which ones. it was.
I really couldn't feel like I could make a motion until I knew what the number was.
Okay,
It
so
was
based,
conceptual,
based on her answer,
Yeah.
if you read all the answers to the questions,
okay.
okay? And you look at the crosswalk. Okay, because the crosswalk is 1224, I believe. And the crosswalk shows. One thing I'm not sure about is the two on the bottom, where I put the note, because I said, why are these not reflected on the summary of changes? That's why I'm confused at this point. But that has, 2, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, so that has 8, so I believe there are 8 positions. The document I show you on the front has 9, sorry, I have one extra and I don't know why. I don't know if they renamed them or not. So I mean, so we have dollar amounts of all the ESER positions. And she said there were what, 8? There were 8 being put in, and the others were.
Yes, 8 being put in. Our question was, on 12/3/20, I'm sorry, on 12/10/23, information was shared that there were 17 positions that were in ESER. And of those 17, 7 FTEs were going to be moved into the general fund. Our question was, what is the status of the other 10 positions? The newest version of this information has 8 FTEs moving to the general fund. What is the status of the other 9 positions? And the answer to that is the positions that are not moving to the general fund are being eliminated.
Question number was that?
That was. Sorry, I'm here, there's 0, they got zeroed out. It's under. It's under the general questions tab. Or not tab, but you know.
I can tell you where it is on the page.
Couldn't get page 4 to print, by the way. Not about any of you. Didn't know how to manipulate it.
I thought I saw that,
I hit print, 3 pages came out, even though there were 4 pages in the drive, I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the number, but I don't know. Oh, and the general questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they at the end?
So.
Yes, I think it's.
No, I gotta find it on the drive.
Yeah,
because I don't have the
it's
full
on there.
page.
So the only thing I'm confused about, when I gave you these 2 papers back to back, they both show stuff moving from ESER. Okay, one's the summary of changes in position, again, which was looked at on 12/24. I don't know that there were changes made to it. I've just rearranged it and totaled it. And then you have the crosswalk, which was done on 12/24. Okay, so I've got 2 positions on the crosswalk that aren't on the summary of changes. I don't believe, although there is an SLP on the summary of changes for 97,000, which, well, no, that's already there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those 6 positions that aren't circled are on the summary of changes in position document.
So we can't account for these 2.
So the ones that you guys aren't kind of wanting to fund, if I say that correctly, would be the ones that are moving directly into the budget. So you've got 3, if the summary of changes in position are correct. I don't know. There, that shows 3, which there's 1 interventionist in Alsted, 1 interventionist in Walpole, and 1 math position in Walpole. So that's why I'm confused, because when I look at this crosswalk, although that's to and from method 6 only. So that might be why they're not on here. The crosswalk only shows to and from method 6.
Correct me if I'm wrong, last year we cut We identified 6 teachers to cut from the budget, knowing that you couldn't actually cut the teachers, you just cut the money associated with that. 2 of those 6 were at the high school, they were vacancies. So what we really cut was the funding, the vacancy funding. The other 4 were people that were in positions. Charlestown cut 2 of them in doing the consolidation of North Charlestown into the other 2 schools. Alsted did one by combining a classroom K1 at Alsted Primary, and Walpole achieved it by cutting a math teacher at the middle school and moving it into ESSA. What I'm not sure about is, it looks like that teacher's coming back. I can't tell if both of them coming back. They bring back the math teacher and the interventionist, or is it just all one? And they just want to get back to where they were. But that's the only attendance area that's. Alsted's continuing the combination class, except next year it'll be a 1-2. Charlestown's continuing without those 2 teachers. And the high school hasn't come back and asked for any new teachers. So the only one that came back looking for what was cut was Walpole. Am I
That's
wrong?
not necessarily true,
Okay. that's correct.
because if you look at summary of changes in position.
Yeah.
Charlestown's asking for 2 new sped teachers.
Sped teachers.
Right.
Okay.
So, well, and I
Yes.
mean, last year they said when they made the cuts, they're not sure that with the consolidation, but they could, that they
Okay.
could continue that lean. And then method 1, we approved a new ESL teacher.
Right, okay.
At the board level. So there were 3 new
Those
positions
are new
added.
positions though.
Correct.
They're not aligned with what went away.
No, no.
The only one that's aligned with what went away is Walpole trying to bring back what went away.
I guess so, if that's what they cut last
I'm
year.
looking at it that way.
I don't remember what they cut last year.
They
so-
cut a math teacher apparently at the
Okay.
middle school. I thought for sure they'd do a combination class in North
So-
Walpole, but
What makes it hard is that the document that came out titled ESSER positions on the 24th does not include the math teacher.
That's probably only showing ESER positions going into method 6.
there's one here that definitely says Walpole Elementary School, move from ESER 3, reinstate math position.
Right, that's on this document.
That's a summary of changes
But
in
on another
position.
document, it doesn't show
But right above it says Walpole attendance area, move from ESER 3, interventionist.
Correct.
Now, I think that would imply that
This is 2 positions.
it's 2 positions and they both went into ESER?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, when I spoke to Kevin Hicks about this,
This is Walpole.
no, Kevin Hicks is Alsted attendance area, the new principal there.
Yeah.
When I spoke to Kevin Hicks about this, he was saying that what he's looking for is because he now has 3 combination classes where you've got, he's got, I think it's, 1st and 2nd grade in Sarah Porter and 3rd and 4th grade in Sarah Porter.
Yeah.
And then 1st and 2nd grade in Alsted, primary.
Correct.
And what he wants the interventionist to do is to move between those 3 classes, those 3 combination classes between Sarah Porter and Alsted Primary, and look for the kids that aren't getting it, because he realizes that kids in combination classes only get like half the teacher's attention, because the teacher has to spend the other half of the class talking to the other grade. So you've got kids that are kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs. They're supposed to be studying something, but they're 1st graders and doesn't always
We've
happen.
been doing that in Ackworth and Alsted for the last 36 years that I can attest to.
Right.
And I asked the principal last year, I know she's retired, but I asked the principal last year, when the children from Ackworth and Alsted arrive at Alsted Primary in 5th grade and assimilate and no longer in a combination class, is there any remediation necessary by virtue of the kids, for the kids who came from Ackworth and Alsted? And the answer was no. So,
I mean,
But, yeah, so back to your question though, Steve, the original question, it's,
It would appear,
yeah, that the 2 positions that we're talking about, the very first one on that list is for the Alsted attendance area, and there is an interventionist that's moved from ESER 3, for a total of 87,998. The 2 positions that you were questioning are down at the bottom of that, first bracket, and they are for the Walpole, attendance area, moved from ESER 3. The first one is the interventionist, total of 87,998, and the reinstate math position, 97,080. So that was your original question was for those two positions, not for the outside attendance area.
And again, I'm saying that this is a document that was given to us for our meeting, our Saturday meeting, right? And so when I went back out to see if I was looking for the crosswalk information, right? And or what was the savings information on these positions. I was looking for that and I went back to this document that was already posted there called Summary of Changes in Position. And I looked at the date on it and the date, it had a 12/24 date, so I assumed it was correct.
Fair enough.
I don't know why your other blue highlighted document
It's
doesn't
different.
match it.
This has been the problem since the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
When? Oh, I'm not sure where it is. When I had shared with everybody that list of 17 comparable school districts and said that, you know, we had the second highest cost, the administration went back and they got a bunch of other data, only as it related to the current year though, not the 15 years ago. And they were trying to justify why we are where we are. And one of them was, I was surprised they did this, average class size. We're at 13.1, lower than any other district on that list. So I'm not even quite sure why they pointed to that, because I mean, connect the dots. We have the lowest average class size and the second highest cost. Then they also listed how many buildings each district had. And yes, we have 11 buildings in the next, there's one with 7, one with 6, and all the rest of them 5 or less. Yeah, except we had 11 buildings 15 years ago. And 15 years ago, we were in 10th position, not second.
Postmortems aren't gonna help us. Yeah.
What's that?
I said, that's great. Was that shared to everybody? Yeah.
Yeah, the administration shared at the
Okay,
meeting.
okay. So regardless of whether we feel that was helpful or not helpful.
Yeah.
I think we need to try to move forward with something here.
How much did you say we were up by? 900 and what? I'd like to make a motion that we reduce, we cut the budget by 900 and something thousand dollars and get to 11.
Then just pause. We're not gonna,
Make a motion. I don't think it'll fly.
let's get our numbers together.
Right.
Because 900 something thousand is not gonna fly for a motion. If you'd like Jamie's numbers, $999,722,
Thank you.
2.95%. As built, this budget is up by that amount.
Yeah, and I'd like to make a motion to reduce this budget by that number.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Michael. Open for discussion. Jamie?
I understand why you've made the motion. I think we need to, this school district and our board approved a teacher's agreement that had a dollar amount of increase attached to it. Okay, barring no other changes, whether it was ESSER coming in, whether it was an unbudgeted out-of-district kid coming in, whether it was the additional ESL teacher that we needed, barring none of those things. We knew when we ratified that warrant article that that was going to increase this budget. So I don't think it's fair, even as a taxpayer, to ask them to level fund a budget when we knew there was gonna be at least that much money that was gonna have to get drawn into it. That's just my statement, okay?
I agree,
Thank you.
aside from the fact that we had $1.5 million surplus. So the question is not what did we budget? What are we spending? What did it cost to run this place last year? However, that said, I'm not supporting Chris's motion because I'm not, like I said 10 years ago, I am not just putting a number on it. We're either gonna identify where it's coming from, even though we know we can't cut those things specifically. At least we can rationalize why we arrived at what we arrived at, and not just say, well, cut $900,000, it's your problem. I don't wanna do that, so I won't support this as much, and I'm sorry, Chris.
I would agree with Steve. We have to have some rationale behind the numbers. We agreed to that last time we established ourselves. At the last meeting on that Saturday, we thought there was some agreement anyway about a $300,000 to $350,000 reduction. Right? So, I mean, that's almost a starting point. Right? I mean, we found about 300,000 or 100,000 in just in case money that was in the budget.
Well, 100 of it's
Not
gone
right,
because they
it's
had a new student, an out-of-district placement go up.
Right,
So 100 grand's gone.
Yeah.
That was in the notes.
Yeah.
But the rest of it,
No, there was money there that we could go after. That didn't, I think it was reducing by 2 FTEs. Or 2.5 FTEs, which where they get them from, it could be anywhere. I thought that was reasonable.
Who,
and I'm sorry, summer of changes in position that I handed you was 1218, not 1224. I'm correct.
Like I said, I don't know what's right and what's wrong anymore, because the information that comes from Lori seems to change dynamically from day by day.
can I ask sort of a point of order? On the 8 of us, who would be willing to stand up in front of the deliberative session and explain this budget the way it is today and be able to field questions? And I'll answer that question for myself, is absolutely not me.
Well, first of all, we don't field complete questions. We only field questions based on the budget law. We only have to field questions based on totals for each section of dollar amounts. That's what it
Who would
says.
be comfortable presenting this budget?
I'll present it.
That's what I'm asking, of the,
But
of the 8 of us. who would
If
present?
there are in-depth questions, the administration has to answer it. They built it. We did not build it. We didn't sit here from square one and build it.
I understand.
Yeah, the only thing we have to do, according to the budget law, because somebody shared that again from our lawyer, why, I don't know, unless somebody asked for it. It says that we have to present a budget with total dollar amounts in each of the line items and a total dollar amount at the bottom. That's all we have to do. So in-depth questions don't come from the budget committee, they come from the
Just to
administration.
get questions, just the ability to stand up and present our budget. Who feels comfortable standing up and presenting this budget? You don't, Mike?
No,
Dave?
That I have not seen a way forward to sell it. No.
Chris?
Myself.
Not you, not me,
Not me.
come on. Right. Would you stand up and sell this budget?
That's not the question you asked, you said present
Sell,
it.
present, excuse me. Could
You
stand up
said
and present?
present it.
Okay,
I
fine,
think-
present it.
To those in attendance, if it was described as, this is fairly new administration, looking at a fairly complex budget, that's about as much as I could describe. But the details I would not be able to.
Present it and sell it, two different things.
Okay, we'll go with just present it. So far, the only ones able to present is you.
That's right, because that's what I do for a
I
living.
understand. So did I for 20 years.
Well,
Granted, I've been removed for 15.
I get it.
I couldn't stand up and present.
What's the relevance of the question?
How many of us feel confident about what's before us? Never mind the total, just confident about what's.
So tell me what the option is. Don't just bring up a question and a problem, bring up a question and then tender an option.
Well, one of the options is that this board does not produce a budget. We know this is, that the backup for that is that the school board presents a budget. If we're
Correct.
unable to produce a budget, right, that's why the school board has to
That's
by law.
correct.
By law, they have to produce a
That's
budget.
absolutely correct.
If
It's the
we
last
can't
bullet
agree-
point in the law.
That's right. If we can't produce a budget for whatever reason, then it goes to the school board. Agreed?
Yeah,
Okay.
it absolves you of all whatever. Yeah.
I mean, one way that can happen is a 4-4 vote, nobody moves. And I guess there are other ways that can happen. And we can just keep voting and keep coming up with no, and we just never get to yes, for whatever reason. So one of the possibilities here is that the budget committee says it was unable, for whatever reason, to present a budget, and then.
Would you like to make that a motion?
We have a motion on the
Oh,
floor.
sorry,
No, not yet.
okay.
Speaking of the motion on the floor, go ahead, Chris.
I was just testing the waters. I'd like to revoke that motion, please. It's time.
You rescind your second.
I voted, I gave a second, so it would be come up for discussion, but I am against that motion.
The motion is rescinded. That was the motion to cut $999,000.
So we have some concepts on the table,
Thank you.
right? At least concepts, right? One is what Steve presented, is just eliminating all the ESER 3 positions from the budget. And I'm not sure,
Except special.
except for the special education positions,
With support,
right?
the drawdown on out of district budget.
Right. We had some agreement at the last meeting on Saturday about cutting 2.5 FTEs. That seemed to be reasonable. All right, so the special ed money that was put away for just in case has been spent, so that's not available anymore. I'm not sure where it went or how it gets accounted for. And then there's still some vacancy management that I think could be done, that could save probably another $100,000 to $150,000 in the budget. So I'm still thinking that we can reduce the budget in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $350,000. But this whole thing about eliminating all the ESER positions, with the exception of the special ed things that Steve has mentioned, dollar value, that's the question that we still have to answer, I think.
We don't know what that dollar value is.
Can I check your math? Sorry, so we had,
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, so.
no, I don't think you're remembering it wrong, but I think that was the elimination of the 100,000 because that.
It become-
we didn't move
It
it, so then
becomes
it-
200 to 250.
That's, okay, that's what my.
I would agree,
So instead of the 300, then we're down to the 200 to 250.
right?
Okay, that's all.
So I'll go out on a limb and give you some numbers based on what I hope that is correct. The special ed ESER, I'm going to make an assumption that everything sitting in M6 needs to be there. It's special ed related. Okay, and that's 310,466. The other ESER related moves, okay, would be 180, I'm just gonna round it off, 185 for Walpole.
$2.
Yeah, okay, is that all right?
Yeah.
Would be 88,000 for Alsted. And then it would also be the community liaison of 40,707 in central office.
So that's 3.5 FTEs.
Hold on, I'll tell you the dollar amount.
Thank you. Which you do?
It's so good. So that is 313,703.
At M6 though is 6 positions, and
Yes, it is.
if my memory serves, I thought Sandra said it was like 3 positions to.
I don't know, I'm not gonna get, but I personally, giving you the numbers, you can do what you want with that, because you have them in front of you.
We can start with it anyway, yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get picayune because it's special ed related.
So we're saying out of all the ESER funds, right, 310, 466 meets the requirement of leaving the special ed numbers alone. That providing Sandra can provide some kind of documentation or some kind of.
The 6 positions listed as M6, I would be willing to wait on until Sandra can provide it with more information.
Right,
Leave them at that.
okay.
Let's give it a moment for the record.
Say that again, please.
So Steve Barone said he's willing to accept the 6 positions.
So leave them alone at the moment until we can get Sandra to clear this up.
from method 6.
And who, Xander?
Xandra, excellent,
Is that Miss or,
miss,
okay.
I don't know her last name.
What's your last name?
Regan.
Reagan or Xandra Reagan.
You're gonna make the suggestion based on information you have, right? Because we don't
Yes.
tell the board where to
Right.
cut. We're gonna say, we're gonna make a motion that we're suggesting that a portion of ESSER funded positions be cut.
Yes,
We're making a motion that we're cutting the dollar value for the moment of these 4 positions.
3.5.
With the with the understanding that it's not necessarily what the board will do, but it's how we arrive at the dollar value.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
and Jamie, do you have a number for that?
Yeah, it's 313703.
313703.
That sounds, that's all 4? Oh, I'm sorry.
3.5.
Yes, one's only a half, my bad.
Okay. Plus another, let's call it 200,000, 250,
Yeah.
And whatever those 4 numbers add up to.
5, 6. I can live with that.
And I'm assuming these are all in values, must be because teachers on the calendar.
Chris, do you have a comment?
Yeah, can someone explain to me what a CODA as a focus teacher does? Or am I not entitled to that
No, you
information?
can. So a CODA is a certified occupational therapy
Okay.
Yeah,
assistant.
another 250 for that.
Yeah. A focus teacher is probably a special ed teacher that specializes. I don't know what focus stands for, I don't remember, but it's a special education teacher.
There's mistakes in
It's
there.
some kind of program. Focus.
Alyssa, do you recall focus, what focus stands for?
Is it an acronym?
No, but it's the, it is
It is an acronym.
the program for the students who are behavioral students. You can't, we're bringing back this, keeping it, that is that program.
So they probably specialize, Chris, in some type of, behavioral management. There's a few different kinds that usually they'll hold certifications in. I'm trying to think of, we used to have a few of them on our staff.
So we have a number to work with now.
An SLP, you know that? That's a
Speech?
speech and language pathologist.
Right.
Sorry.
Amanda, do you have a list ready? Working on it?
Working on
Oh, this,
Just keeping a tally of reductions.
And the 2 behavioral assistants that were listed were, one was Focus and one was Leap. From my notes from the 15th.
Is there any crossover between all these programs, or are they all just different things for different types of kids?
They're all different age groups.
Yeah,
Well, steps and leap are different age groups. Focus is its own little unit,
yeah,
so I don't believe there's any crossover.
crossover. Yeah, I don't know much about them, so it'd be a nice school board session to
I
explain.
think
all the
we've had
different-
them, we probably just don't remember.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So,
A lot.
We can come again.
when we talk about these ESSER positions, these 3.5 ESSER positions, when we look at our concepts that we had talked about, those 2.5 FTEs that we had potentially talked about on that Saturday meeting, I think that those are inclusive of,
2 of them are.
right. in
Well, they
those.
have to certainly,
Right, oh, yeah, they are.
They're all,
2.5,
so-
yeah, it is.
So then our concepts, if you will, are the ESSER 3 management, right? Or elimination of the ESSER 3 funding except for the special ed stuff, and then vacancy management.
what does that give you?
Right now, the total of those 3.5 FTEs is 313,703. When, so that gives us an increase in the budget of $686,019, which would bring the budget off of so I took last year's budget and I added $686,019 for $34,478,399. Is where we are currently. I have not done the math for the percent increase with that.
Hold on, I'll tell you when that. Sorry.
If there was additional dollar amounts that you could, or we could assign to vacancy management, we could drop that increase further.
Let's make sure we're not double counting something. At the last meeting in Charlestown, I think we said that the Walpole teacher, right? Was one of the things on our list last time. And I don't want to double count it because it's here.
No, right, no, that's what we did, that's why we cut. so
You
the-
took them out, so
yeah,
kept it to
so-
a
Yeah,
half out.
so no, so there wasn't that, there
We
was.
didn't have all this information.
Yeah, I don't want to double count.
Yeah, that's good.
It's
So
in
the
chocolate.
question is over the.
Enlighten the
over
day.
amount from the special ed, from the, yeah, SAU60 amount.
Pass them around.
We want to continue down the road to take a little bit more.
As you're figuring out that math,
Yep.
Well, I want to be standard.
do we,
There's somebody else, six.
I don't know if we wanna. Last year, there was that accounting error. And
Oh, yeah, they spent it on an aid.
so they spent it on aid.
Yep, and 1-to-1 unbudgeted aid.
Okay, so
It
they,
came before the school board,
okay, so
before we
that's,
set tax rate.
because that was something that happened after the budget committee wasn't involved in that discussion. Okay, I wanted to validate.
Thanks for
that.
double checking.
Thanks, thank you.
Thank you, whoever brought them.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them. I have to. For days. Spent $200 at the lint store. I dropped off most of it at the assisted living facility for the nurses. I took a small bag home and I'm like.
So we have some math before us now.
She's doing.
We're working on it. But Steve Delesio, you say you could live with these numbers.
Well, the 313,703, assuming that's a good number. I think there's another amount that we should take out, whether it's 200,000 or 250, you know, who knows? So I think within that budget, within vacancy management, some of the mistakes that we found, all those little things that are all over the place. I believe that there's possibility of $200,000 to $250,000 more that could come out without affecting services. So I'd be happy with whatever those add up to, and say that's where a good starting point for discussion should be. And then I would also make a motion to put the $34,000. Yep, for Langdon.
All
for the
right.
SRO.
So I'm confused, so. When we got to the 200, the 250
Was including them.
was including those 2.5 FTEs.
Right, what I'm
So-
saying is that they were taken up in the 303 or 313,703. I still believe that
Okay.
within the budget, there's still $200,000 to $250,000 that could be removed without affecting services and affecting teachers or anything else. It just, you know, when a director says, I just raised everything 5% without any rhyme or reason, that, you know, that's not being a steward, a good steward of the money.
Understanding that's one small example.
It's one small, but smalls add up a lot in this case.
It does, but let's go back to, just remember all the positions they've eliminated,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
right? I mean, I don't want us to lose sight of, 6, 10, 14. I get they're not teachers other than like one of them, student services coordinator and the code are right up there. That's probably $200,000. I just don't wanna lose sight, even though we know the dollar amount of what they cut out in order to absorb some of what they asked to put in,
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't want us to be short-sighted of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I also agree with you, Jamie, when you said that in good faith, the school district created a contract And that is, it's in good
So do we
faith,
know what I'm trying to find the damn warrant articles.
but I don't know what it
Do
is.
we know what the dollar amount was that we in good faith voted that we would
Right,
at least let the budget go up by that much?
I was just gonna say, I was on the negotiations for
You know
that,
the number?
and we kept it under $500,000
It was 40.
for the 3 years, for the 3
I
years.
just need the number.
Thing, but I don't have the number with me, I can get it for us.
No,
because
it should be on our website.
It should
I
Have the annual
report. What are you
looking for,
would- Yeah, tell me what year
Yeah.
2 of the warrant article for the teachers was.
Looks like a point of warrant.
Granted. I don't know if the bodies all survived that.
488,540.
Okay.
Yeah.
plus some amount on top of that for increase in benefits, right?
Well, yeah, we couldn't tell
No,
you
no, I'm
what,
just-
what health insurance
that's-
was gonna be 2
I'm
years
trying to
down
get
the
back to
road.
a default of number of some sort.
Right.
So
Well, I mean,
New Hampshire retirement system is 20 cents on the dollar.
Right,
You need the third year of the support staff too.
so once you get there, maybe it's $800,000 that got added
Yeah.
to for a default budget, that's what I'm thinking,
Well, yeah, I
900,000.
don't, I 100% agree with you that I don't like this answer about, would like to vet this through legal before sharing the default budget number. That's not a quality answer to me.
Yeah, it's,
We should know what the default budget is by
and
now.
I don't understand why it's not public knowledge,
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. The school board sets the default budget.
yeah,
Therefore, the budget committee, in terms of its deliberations to produce a proposed budget, really has no bearing on the proposed budget. Proposed budget is what it is. I will say eventually we have to fill in the blank on Article 1, and that is our article.
yeah.
But in terms of determining what the proposed budget is, I'm not sure what the default budget is relevant. On the other hand, they're eventually gonna have to cough up that number. So they must have a reason for keeping it at bay, because they know eventually they're gonna have to produce it.
I would assume we have to see it by January 10th. At the
Yeah.
budget hearing.
Yeah, it has to go on the warrant.
It has to be. I don't know what the delay
But I
is.
sort of understand.
I'll see if I can find out.
You know, it's a barometer, to me, it's a barometer, right? You know, we have an obligation to fulfill,
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
to start cutting below that, you know. I don't know if that's the most right thing to be doing, but
It's such a subjective number though,
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
you could put
I agree,
Lori, Jamie, and me in 3 different rooms.
yeah.
And come up with
Three
numbers, we come up
different-
with
three different numbers.
And the legislature admits that.
Yeah.
In that they allow for either the budget committee or the school board at the directive of the public
Yeah,
to come up with that number. Well, if that number was an absolute, that would be unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because it would be the same number no matter who did it. That's the legislature admitting that this is subjective,
yeah, no, I
and that
agree,
it's frankly bad law.
anyway.
Chris?
Yeah, question. I didn't, get to see her answers. Was there any, answer regarding the, changes to facilities staffing, which is,
Yes.
Yeah, there was something in there about that.
which is what I'm in favor.
It talked about that, besides the work orders, these people help with other things.
Oh.
So they are kept busy all the time.
The
That was
facility-
the answer.
With 11 buildings, I would imagine they are.
Mhm.
The facility crew manages approximately 2,200 work orders per year. There are more that aren't entered into the system.
Very true. But she's not familiar yet with the system to pull all this stuff out. And I don't know, Bill has a new, AA there, I don't know if she's familiar either. Mary used to know how. Mary used to know how. Broke my kid.
So at this time, would we like to come out of this meeting with a number? We have another meeting set.
I do.
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday for the next meeting?
I was gonna ask Jamie, is there a reason why we have January 2nd, Tuesday instead of Wednesday, the 3rd?
Because I have a Norwich board meeting.
Yeah, and I have,
That was-
I have a select board meeting on the 3rd too.
But my understanding from her email was that she won't be back on the 2nd.
Right, Right, Lori won't be back until the third.
And you want to talk about that number?
I'm good either day, I just want to point that out.
Can point it out, I don't know that. Right there.
First day.
Well, let me point out to you what the numbers look like if you were to, if you were to take the teacher's warrant article as proposed, right? At 488, 540, and just add into it New Hampshire retirement system, okay, nothing else. No FICA, no Medicare, no anything, just New Hampshire retirement system. That's another $95,950, okay? So if you add the two of those together and the 310,000 from just the M6 ESSER additions, right? Let me number that.
So can you pause there, now, Jenny, just for
I can.
clarification?
488. What?
That 488 number,
Yeah,
that's not just salary. It does exclude health and dental, but it
okay, oh, so it includes the,
should
okay,
include anything that's a derivative of salary.
okay,
Health and dental are not derivatives of salary.
okay. All right, so those would be all in.
So
Oh,
that
good, I feel
488
better
should be an
now.
all-in
Thank you.
number.
All right, so that, okay, that's okay, good. They're all in. I don't know, I'm like, my brain hurts at this. That's true, because you know what? I recognize that error on my own warrant article when I put it in too late and it didn't include those.
It's
It
supposed to
did.
be all in.
And I went, oh, shoot.
Whatever the settlement
Add a
drives.
couple
is
hundred
supposed to be
grand to it,
managed.
it wasn't good. Okay, so that plus the 310, 466 would be 799,006.
Above last year's budget.
Yes. So 799,006. So, and we were at,
And the 310,000
is the method 6 ESSER stuff.
For special ed.
And we were at 999,722. I was just trying to look at what the math meant based on some of our comments. So that would be additional cut of 200,716. Which is kind of where you guys were, yeah.
Jamie, do you need to include the third year of the support staff contract in that too?
The what?
The support staff contract third year?
I didn't, I was going off of the warrant article that we had.
Isn't that already budgeted? It's already the.
Well, this is already budgeted in here too. I'm just
Right.
making the
To be
comment.
consistent, she's right.
Right, okay, yeah, so
I
the
don't know.
support staff, I don't
Probably
know.
100.5,
Huh?
100.5 maybe. I don't have the number, but
Well,
I'll take a
so,
stab at it.
so that would basically mean that at where we're sitting at 999,722, give or take 100 grand, they have basically cut positions to put the ones they want in. They have self-funded the changes. That's all I'm trying to point out. Right. Give or take 100. They have self-funded through,
Relative to last year's budget.
correct,
Okay.
relative to last year's budget, yes, which, that's a whole nother conversation, but,
I understand.
okay,
Just want to clarify that.
yeah, yes. I don't think the support was that big, it was, huh?
I think it's in that number.
It was like 2%, I think.
I think I have that book, actually,
You need this prior,
I have it,
I don't think I have
I
all.
don't know, last year's, I have the.
I have it, I think it's all. Current year. Oh, no, it might be though. It might
That's
be
why I
in
hate
the
it
minutes.
in the website, don't
It
carry
might be
all
in
of
the
the
minutes
years.
though. In this book.
My website has every year on it. That way, when I can't find anything, I just go to the website. Source of truth, makes it
Right.
very easier.
It's in the minutes. 179 actually.
Oh, it was, okay.
179, what did I say, buck and a half, I'm short. 179, almost 180. Because it's noted in the minutes from the prior meeting. I don't have the warrant, but I have the minutes.
979,006. Just saying.
You're just saying that that's as it relates to the budget.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, let's not lose sight of the fact that we turned back $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Which opens us up for vacancy management in the future.
Sure, I still think we should put something, we should reduce something for vacancy management. It's so unlikely that every position is gonna be filled on July 1. I mean, it really is. That's reality in this market. Unless all the ESSER positions, these people just jump right in. You know, then that changes the picture a little bit.
And I think those would be filled before any subsidiary aid positions that are shared for rooms. Cause those are your more critical needed,
Yeah.
probably areas.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't know
gonna-
how many teachers are leaving and.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff, so that's, you know, but I would still think we should have something off of this for vacancy management, just because it's the way it is in today's
One
world.
other note, Jamie,
Mm,
I believe she's carrying the 250 to the reserve fund in the budget last year. But nothing, it comes off as a 250 cut. If you look at the budget for this year,
They all come off as a cut.
why, there's more than just the 250, you mean?
Yeah,
there's all
all
the
your
other warrant
warrant articles.
Okay, so if you factor all those out,
If you take all those out, then the number on the bottom of here is the 5.5% is what you're truly up.
okay. Okay,
Because you have to.
I'm not worried about percent, I'm thinking about dollars. How many
Right.
dollars, other than that 250?
1,831,651.
Yeah. I think that was the
Of
number.
warrant articles?
Your warrant articles were probably just shy of 1 million when you added them all together.
So,
We had that
Okay.
conversation. Yeah, absolutely. It's just when it goes out in print,
I understand.
it's still gonna show all of those costs. And that's what skews the budget to budget ratio.
Right. Point it out.
Yeah, no, that's what she ran, that last one she ran. She carved out all the other warrant articles. That's why when you look at it, you go, what happened?
The difference from version 1.3 to 1.4.
Yeah,
Why it went from 3.18 to 5.55%.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, because all the prior year warrant articles are carved out of the dollar amount you're comparing it to. Yeah. Yes, it took me a
That's
minute.
why I couldn't find it in the difference from 1.3 to 1.4.
Yeah, no, I've run into this in the town as well.
I looked at the bottom line and I almost had heart failure, so I pulled it down.
It goes the other way a lot of times, like in the town, it goes the other way, right?
Oh, really?
Rich reports the warrant articles, then in the proposed, he doesn't report them, so it shows like a 12% decrease in the budget. So we have put another line in the budget without warrants, compare
Yeah.
apples to apples.
Yes, you can do that.
That's the only way to know where you are.
Right. Correct.
So what do we think? So it's your belief, Jamie, that the budget went up 999,700 and something dollars,
22,
722?
722, yeah.
999,722.
When you compare it to last year's complete budget, but Steve is correct that it's actually up 1.8 million if you carve out all the one-time warrant articles. Right, so the one-time warrant articles would be all of the surplus moved articles, all of the capital expenditure articles, all of those articles, right? When you take them out and you compare it apples to apples without any additional warrant articles in. I'm assuming the teacher article was in, I don't know. You have all can I have your yellow little pamphlet? I can actually add it myself and see if it's correct. That's helpful, thank you. I just don't wanna I don't wanna say that and have one of them like not in there, that's the teacher's cost. That would be bad. That would be bad. Let me just look
I
real
would
quick.
say that at least in Charleston, the student numbers are going down. And according to this report I got from Corey, I I'm not sure how she justifies the 3 teachers when you only have 45 for a group, a grade group. So, there's gonna have to be some more conversation about reduction of staff at some point, particularly in Charlestown, because the numbers are dropping. And there is an estimate, she's estimating the population from one year to another, like 6th grade is going from 43 to 50. I'm not sure how, when they go, or 7th grade next year, so. Through the entire budget process that I've been this year, it's rather discombobulated, and I don't think I've been able to give sufficient time to it. But more importantly, I haven't had the information, I think, in a timely manner, and it's been very troubling. And I haven't been able to ask the right questions to the right people, so. But Charlestown still is going down in numbers, and there is a possibility. And it looked like Corey took the secretarial money from last year, and now she's providing that for teacher stipends. So that's not we lost a staff person, but she's gonna move that 30,000 into teacher stipends. So, you know, I just think it's a shot in the dark now as a budget committee. It seems like,
Yes, it is.
what we're doing. Because they're moving the money, and I don't get to ask questions, and they play around with it, how they choose. And it's very, I don't wanna use the word insidious, but
How about frustrating?
thank you. That's a tempered one, so I'll use that from what I'd like to say. I'm not happy with our super, nor am I happy with the process. I don't think we have collaborated as a district, as a board, as a SAU. I think we've tried, but I don't think it's been a very, very collaborative process this year. And I'm not satisfied, and I know that you guys were gonna come up with a number, and I still think there's more to remove the process. Nobody's doing a deep dive into this thing to make appropriate processing cuts.
Very hard to do. I mean, at this point, I'm sorry, I don't have any confidence in what I'm looking at. Never mind making decisions about this or that.
Right.
I don't have any confidence in what's performing. Not when I find $138,000 worth of, doesn't make sense to me in the last day or two.
It's more disturbing than anything
I
else.
just don't.
And I'm beginning to lose thought on what our job is. Consider it seems like, everybody keeps sending me the legal aspects that we can't ask certain questions. We can't ask the reasons why they need something. I'm unsure. I know, it sounds like we have to write our questions, send them up to the chair of the board, and then the board's gotta ask the SEU, then it's gonna come back. Words to us. I don't know. I just feel. Yeah, I'm a little disheveled by this process this year.
Understood.
Qualify my remarks. When I say I have no confidence in these numbers, my problem is, I have, unlike Amy, thank God we have her, I have no knowledge of this system. So I don't know what to attribute it to. I don't know if it's system problems or personnel problems, or I'm not pointing a finger at anybody. All I'm telling you is, I don't have any confidence in what's performing. I don't necessarily know why.
Okay. So from the footing we have, Steve DeLassio, do you have a comfort level with the numbers before us that we could?
I
give some
guess
type
I'm
of-
still a little fuzzy on what the bottom line of the budget is from the administration. I'm still not sure that we have a real number that we can put our hat on, but I would still think that we can eliminate from whatever number it is, at least $550,000 without affecting anything. Whether we want to cut more full-time or present more full-time equivalent reduction. I mean, that's something that each town can consider, but that's where I'm sitting at 513,703 plus some if we need it.
I think a big part of this, because looking at the town budgets, we do see that the individual budgets, except for Walpole,
Right,
are down. Charlestown has made cuts
right,
and consolidations.
right.
To go across the board now and say that they need to to cut more in every area, I think. does-
No one's saying that. I disagree. No one's saying that. We're just saying that we believe there's 500,000 or so in the budget. We think that all the ESSER positions, other than the special ed things that we talked about, and there's probably another 200,000 or so within the budget that you can look at and you can find without affecting teachers and without affecting staff, without affecting services. I just believe it's in there.
That it could be found.
That could be found with a deep dive into the budget from the information we've been given, right?
The version 1.4, which is the FY 25 proposed budget of 34,832,144.
Right, but I'm not sure that's the right number, because the appropriation number that's in that same report is wrong. The FY 24 appropriation number is at 33 million and something.
Yeah, hold on, I'm trying to.
So again, it gets down to the question of competency of the documentation we've received. And that's a big question mark. And I think we have to recognize that to the public. That says, you know, based on the information we've been given and what we've been able to massage, this is what it looks like. But frankly, I don't think the administration is giving us all the information in a timely and clear format.
So with what information we have available to us,
Yeah, based on that, that's what I'm saying. That's the number I think we can get to.
We wanna, I'll just play devil's advocate here for a second. We have said that as a committee that we wanted to be able to, rationalize where that money
Sure.
is coming from. We rationalize the, reduction of 3.5 potential FTEs from ESSER funding,
Right.
move from ESSER 3, move from ESSER 3. That is a rationalization. Do we think that if we just said 200,000 in vacancy management?
Yeah, some amount in vacancy, I would say 150,000 in vacancy management, which we don't know because we don't know how many positions they have to fill. But that would be a reasonable number. That's only about 1.5 FTEs.
Well, just an interesting question though, Jamie, help me out here. If we said $200,000 in vacancy management, how do we apportion that? I mean, it's a wild card. How do you apportion a wild card?
but as
You,
Method 6.
And put a number on it?
Yeah.
Drawing method 6, how do you apportion it?
I don't know, how'd they do it last year? Or this year? Last year.
Your silence leads me to believe it's a good question.
well, if you were gonna do that, they would have to, I know how I would do it, but I was here long enough to make that judgment call. I think it's a difficult thing for brand new administration to make that judgment call when they don't have, they don't have a familiarity with the system, because they've not been here long enough to see how it ebbs and flows, right? So you're asking them to make a judgment call on a system they don't have a background with, which is, that's brutal. That's not fair, and it's quite frankly a little bit brutal, but, the school board could, tender some thoughts on that for the administration to follow. That's where it would fall back to. The school board would have to.
Yeah.
And so if we're gonna do that, it should follow a method that's fair to all of the districts, which would probably be the ADM.
Probably, yes. I mean, we never did anything like this 20 years ago when that methodology was put together. So yes, it does rest with the school board to find the appropriate path for it. You're right.
Right, so you would probably, the school board and only one person, not making any, decisions here, but I would imagine that whatever the highest charge is out to the districts, which is it's ADM, it should follow ADM back as a credit.
One would think so.
Do want it just reflected that I don't disagree with the frustration of this year and, how we got information but I also want to acknowledge that the administration has, and we've all acknowledged this before, but they've done a lot of work. They got handed this problem and we're working through it. It's not necessarily the easiest way or the easiest, path forward to work through this, but we also have this perfect storm, if you will, of the ESSER funding, the money that we gave back, and then new administration trying to clean up old administration stuff. Like there's a lot going on here. So, and nobody on this committee has blamed anybody, and nor is anybody blaming anybody, but I do just want to acknowledge that this is, for lack of a more eloquent way to say it, it's just a hard year. This is just not, it's been a difficult process and it's just a hard year.
All set on? So noted. I agree with Amanda. This is a difficult year. It's a storm that's coming at us from many different angles.
But it's only the beginning. When the tax bills come out in June, and people see their taxes go up $1,000 or more, the recoil is gonna be phenomenal.
My tax bill this year just went down $7, we'll call that flat. So, in a 4% inflationary environment, I'd certainly expect next year's to go up 8%, reasonable. So I expect it to go up 16%. The problem is the difference between 8%, 15% and 16% is about $1.6 million to make that go away. The sensitivity is a little under $200,000 per percent. So to make 8% come off, 1.6 million, 7%, 1.4 million in round numbers. It's about 195,000 per, that's close enough.
And those are real numbers. But we have to consider, as people who know, that the surplus coming back plays into that, and it's not,
That's right.
we're not
That's
talking,
right. But the average Joe on the street isn't gonna see that.
they aren't, but
We have to make
it's
it
part
our
of the
point.
explanation.
Our point, we have to
And we
make it.
can't punish,
Right,
in a way, this administration and what they're trying to do
right,
for
right,
what has led us up to this position,
right.
be it blatant mistakes, like putting all these positions into ESSER that created a cliff.
That's right, created, that's correct.
Yep, I agree.
It didn't happen.
Fully
it was
agree.
Created.
We created the mess.
What I'm looking to avoid is propagating a messier situation.
I don't know. I just want to see us take a little bit of sting out of the tax increase if we can.
Believe we can do that, but there is a balance there to be made.
Yeah, I agree. But it would be nice if we can take a little bit of sting out of the tax increase that's coming.
Beginning of this meeting, we had a 313,703 in proposed cuts. I have a note of that. What, is that still on the table? That's being considered. From the version 1.4 proposed number. Does that include vacancy management?
No, it does not, which is where it's used by for 500,000.
Yeah, I'm thinking throw $200,000 in for vacancy management.
Okay.
And that'll bring us to 513,703. It's, I think, a reasonable number to take off.
Not 2.5% off.
Does it?
2.5%.
2.5%, that's better than nothing.
Certainly. Certainly better than nothing.
Right.
Sorry, Steve, will you say that again? What'd you say about 2.5?
It takes 2.5%
About
off.
2.5%
off
tax.
off the taxes.
So from 25, it goes to 23.
Well, not necessarily across the board, though. It
Right.
depends where we got it.
Yeah, I mean, Langdon is in some weird situation that I think Langdon Select Board
Jamie,
should dig down into that deeply.
since you're on the board then, when the budget committee finished this past year and said, here's your number. If you made decisions that were different in terms of cuts than the budget committee's decisions, I'm praying that you made an adjustment for that before you submitted the budget to the state, so that the apportionment reflected your actions and not our budget. So just as a for instance, no, we're not gonna cut that teacher in Walpole, we're gonna cut a teacher in Charlestown and said, oh, I hope to God Charlestown got credit for the cut in their taxes and not Walpole.
Well, I can't answer that because I didn't file it. Right, so I'm going to say, yes, those adjustments were made for the simple reason that Walpole ended up still paying for the additional body there
That's a
because,
mistake, that's not a story, I just meant as,
right,
beginning of mistakes happen. Procedurally, when the budget committee is done and the public is blessed, whatever they bless.
right,
And the school board sits down and says,
Mhm.
well, we know this is the number we have to live with, but not necessarily the way the budget committee built it. We think we'll cut these things instead and put these things back, which is you're perfectly fine. Does your state report reflect that so that the apportionment is reflective of what you're actually going to do as opposed to what the budget committee built?
so I'm going to say, yes, it should.
It should, thank you.
Okay, I wasn't the person that filed
Oh, I know
it.
that.
I'm gonna assume the person we hired to do their job did it correctly.
Yes, well, yes, but in the end, it's the board's signature appears on the document.
I get
Okay.
that, but we don't go line for line.
No,
for
no, I
line for
understand.
line. And we didn't change anything when it was filed.
It's fine, I'm just asking the question procedurally, not necessarily.
Procedurally, stuff from March can change when you get to November.
Well, we know that. I'm talking about
Well,
the
you
short
set the
one.
tax rate and the apportionments in November.
Yeah, absolutely. But
So Lori set that this year, Mary filed the other document.
I don't know when the apportionment document got filed.
October, November.
Okay, then there was an opportunity to have that apportionment document be reflective of the
Of
way we were
actual,
gonna
yes,
operate.
yes,
And
yeah,
that should have
yes.
occurred.
Yeah, it would be reflective
So
of
we agree
actual.
on that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because she would have, yes, because she would have trued up
True
what
enough,
was entered in.
what we did as opposed to what was blessed in March.
Correct. Yeah, you have to true it up.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chris?
I don't have the budget in front of me, but how does everybody feel about reducing the percentage of increase for the administration? I'd like to, based on everybody else in the district, let's reduce it down to something reasonable.
Well,
I don't
we
think
we
5%
don't
is.
specifically control that, but if you want to put a dollar value.
Well, that's
on
what I
that,
mean, this dollar value. I'd say 0.
There's an issue with contracts and stuff with that. It can't be 0, I don't think.
What about the non-union contract?
Yes.
We don't know if these guys have contracts that
Right.
have an increase built into them.
Right.
Jamie,
I
think
is that
some
true?
do and
They
some
have to be
don't.
publicly approved, just like the union.
No, because they're annual.
Yeah.
Right, they're annual, but if you have a multi-year contract for non-union personnel,
All of them are annual.
But not
all of them-
multi-year.
No, there's a new
So
sign
not
on.
multi-year.
The only one that's multi-year is your superintendent, I think, and maybe, no, your BA's annual.
But the
This one
multi-year is
but
just,
not always.
the multi-year is only continued employment, it doesn't assure any raises, right?
I don't know what in this contract, so.
But we'll have to do, it would depend on what's in the contract.
It's not voted on by general populace.
I agree.
Yeah, because mine isn't in Hanover and I have a multi-year contract with guaranteed increases.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could happen.
But they don't, those, for whatever reason, those aren't Sanbornized.
I know what you mean by that, and I'm wondering why,
They're not voted by the
No, I know
general
what you mean.
public.
just wondering why non-union people would be exempt from the concept of standardization.
Because none of your non-union other than upper admin have any multi-year contracts. They're yearly, they're annual.
Right, but the one with multi-year contracts is just a guarantee of employment, not necessarily a guarantee of escalation.
I don't know that because I haven't read them all.
Right. It could have a guarantee of escalation in it, so I think
So, I guess my question is, what was the dollar value increase?
I think I gave it.
5% non-union equals 198,000 and change.
You had the number? Good. I
It
was
could be
just looking
comparable
for it.
like 4.
I was looking for it.
It's a little bit more to it.
Inflation's at 3.2.
Yeah.
Or was.
Yeah, but before you look at it that way, what was the average increase for the unionized staff?
The prior year?
No, this agreement, this
Right?
multi-year agreement for both the sports staff and the teachers.
4%.
My
Plus-
concern is when you don't treat everybody equally,
Right.
it's almost an invitation to say, well, obviously the way to get treated better is to unionize, and you end up with a
Correct,
third
yes.
union.
So 4%, if we gave the teachers 4%, let's give the non-union 4%.
I just think it should be consistent.
Yeah, then it's consistent. If we gave the teachers 5%, then they should get 5%.
You know, principals, you're the only two people that can't be unionized, I believe, is the business administrator and the superintendent.
That's correct.
Oh, and the superintendent is allowed to reserve one administrative assistant as well, for confidentiality purposes. Everybody else is subject to the union, so that's optional.
They can, but they don't have to.
Right, it's optional.
So that would be my recommendation. Because if whatever the teachers get, the non-union staff should get.
Be careful, they might have got 6.
So what?
I don't know.
that number?
I think it was 4.
Four.
198,000
And that was for 5%?
for 5%.
That based on the non-union, is that based on the non-union numbers, Dave?
Yeah, I'm just going off of memory. I'll try and
No,
find.
no, no, I was asking because I was pulling up the non-union thing.
Oh, good.
I don't know how to run these things. I don't know how to run sheets. I hate sheets. Have I said that before?
You're showing your age, Jamie.
Hate sheets.
I agree, but you're showing your
I
age.
told everybody at my office. I'm saying that to me, sheet.
You should try to teach 80-year-old board members that they have to switch the sheets.
No, nope,
We have training sessions for them.
yeah.
Can I
no.
attend?
It's horrible.
I
Millennial,
don't use it at work at all, only here.
Non-union pay history,
Oh, so,
So 4% would drop that to
There you go.
158,400.
What does it say? It was like 40 grand.
yeah, 40, 50,000.
Yeah.
Sorry. Up a little bit.
and I hate
Another little
Chrome.
chunk.
Probably my own computer.
By the time you're done, you get to some number.
We get your 200.
That's what I'm saying. It's
I
all over.
believe you're right, Dave. I got 196,116. So I think you're right.
off of 3.9.
3.922334.
Yeah.
3.922334 was the 2004.
Oh, I don't know, that's the document I prefer to.
Yeah.
So you have it.
Somebody put there.
Probably. You know.
Yeah.
3,922,334 is the total non-union
Yes, it
for
is.
2000, for last year.
Yeah,
Say that, sorry, say that.
that's correct.
222,
922, 334.
334.
Yep.
Okay. So then that's going to change.
So, where's the- What do you think I used that one? Much better with your phone.
Sure. So then it was, this was not, the 5% was not. Hold on, let's see what 5%.
196,117, rounded up. 17, yep.
So then the 4% would be 156,894. Rounded.
Or,
Saving the 39, 253.
So, say 40,000,
Example.
maybe say 40.
So. 5% last year, or 5% was 196, 117. So 4% is 156, 894 rounded. And so it's 39,223 rounded.
That comes off.
So then,
So instead of 513, 703 and 40 to that.
added 40 to that,
Oh, it's a reduction, right? 40,000?
right, so you're subtracting.
Minus the,
Yeah, from the total,
Okay.
however you want to do it.
$34,278,441.
And what was what was our proposed last year? 34 million? The voted on one, sorry.
I was trying to.
34,830, no. The FY 24 appropriated, you're asking?
Yeah,
33,493.
so it went up 1 million, is that what it is? Close to 1 million? No, it's not really, it only went up a couple 100,000, right?
No, you're 1.2.
Yeah, I'm a little foggy right now, so. So is it reasonable to ask for Monday's or Tuesday's meeting, that we just outline this on one piece of paper? So we can see all of it? Is that a reasonable thing?
Think so?
Yes.
Yeah, because we have to then drive it into the sections that it carves out from.
Yeah, yeah, just so we have a consolidated conversation numbers.
So you won't actually know then any town by town impact until somebody's able to do that.
Yeah, till there's an administrator, a DA that can do it, right?
Can I do it? Probably. Am I going to? No.
No, you don't.
I think that's what I just got.
That's right. You don't wanna know how many hours I've had to do this already, I'm done.
They also have to, I mean, Lori should also look at the valuations to make sure they're correct, because,
She said they were all updated.
She did.
The question was asked and she said they are updated.
okay, because 3 of them were correct the last meeting we had, and 2 of them were not posted yet on the
Yeah.
DRA website. I could have sworn all those went up a bit, so.
So give your number, is that adding 40,000 to the 513? 700, 703? That's the proposed reductions.
What was that? What did you, oh, so you added 200?
Yeah,
What was
so
that,
Steve,
vacancy
yes,
management?
Steve
Okay.
is saying that we can do, or suggesting.
So that's minus 200 there.
Right.
That would be.
And where was the 313,703? Clarification on where that number comes from.
Yep, it's the removal of 3.5 FTEs from method 6 that were moved there from ESSER. It does not touch the,
That's not method 6. We didn't touch those.
That's right,
Sorry.
that's what she's saying.
sorry, yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
misspoke. It's not method 6, sorry, it's
3.5 FTEs from ESSER.
from ESSER 3 that were moved into the general budget.
Okay.
Does not touch method 6. I misspoke.
So what was your number?
34,278,441.
Yep.
441.
That's what I have.
441.
Yeah.
Opposed, right now.
as it stands,
And I'm sorry, what did you
And
say
what was,
last?
what's that delta from from last year's?
I don't know, I really need to do a little research on what last year's is.
Okay.
I have 33,479,086 on the document from 12/16. And that's, that's taking out building improvements and all
Yeah.
that stuff down below. So, I guess these-
Yeah, okay, it's just a number, but it's a nice number to have.
so putting the standard one.
Yeah, well, we know what our obligations are, whether it's relevant or not, I don't know, but it's just.
Brain just- This is from 12/16. So the comparison number, it depends. It's complicated, right? So it depends on whether we're not pulling in all the other funds, right?
Right.
We voted on an appropriation, right?
Correct?
That's the number we should be comparing to,
Yes,
right?
yes. Yes, it is.
And it was around 30.
So last year's total all-in number was
Yeah.
35,848,319.
But it should go up a line, right? To the
Correct,
34
so
number.
that's my point.
Yeah, that's the number that I was using in my head.
You gotta go up two numbers.
Yeah,
So 33,479,086, and then you gotta add in the stuff down here, 310,500. So it would be, I think, the comparison number. I hate doing this when I don't have all the documents. I think the comparison number should be 33,789,586.
okay,
I think that's the comparison number. But that'll be the comparison number that includes the additional warrant articles that were for transfers.
yeah, well, there're gonna be more. So,
Right, because that's the one that goes on the document.
right. See, one of the things, when Lori gave us the first package
Right.
of information, she provided us with lots of good things. Right? An
Yeah,
estimated tax rate, all of those good things. As the budget changed, we never got those documents again. They just didn't exist anymore. So in the latest package, we didn't get the tax rate, we didn't get the comparisons. We had a lot of good information in the first draft, or 1.3 draft information. But when it switched to 1.4, it all just disappeared, never came back.
well, because the amount of time she has about to spend on all of it is
No,
Well,
difficult.
I agree.
So I think it's up 488,855.
Not exact.
that's not bad,
I think that's where it is, okay? Don't quote me,
but that's not a bad
I think that's it.
dart. I don't think that's a bad dart.
Why am I?
I don't like using those terms, but yeah, I guess so. I'd like to be a little more specific, but with all of these accounts.
I think that's
I would agree.
1.44%.
If we would have gotten it back in
Yeah.
November, then we would have had a shot.
I'll give you a copy of this.
It's not getting it.
I may be wrong, so
One
you
meeting
might
away
need to
from the
memorialize.
public hearing.
If I
The
talk
budget
to somebody
hearing,
can go, where the hell did you get that?
And where we stand now with the number, this gives them something to work with. And
No.
it requires them to make additional cuts.
Well, you're gonna have to get a
Yeah.
vote on it, right?
So on Tuesday, is the board meeting with us on Tuesday? Or is the
Oh.
first time everybody gonna see this is at the budget hearing on the 10th?
We, we were hoping that if you came to a number, that you would present it to us on the 8th, which is 2 days before the budget.
All right, that's right, we have another meeting on the 8th. All right, so we have a Tuesday meeting,
I'll
and
make
we
you a
can
copy.
summarize this again, just take another look at it, and then
This is-
hopefully we'll be able to give you numbers.
That would be fantastic, because we were planning a long meeting just in case.
This.
We had to go through this process also.
I'm sure you're gonna have to.
Yeah, this is.
You've given us really good direction, though. It's much easier.
Oh, but, no.
And then.
But it's much easier to say, we agree with these things, or we don't, and we know where to go versus start from line one.
Yeah,
Think the difference.
How you develop it is another story, but develop. Even if it's take arts, it's okay.
Yeah. I think that's reasonably close.
We're close, so I feel that the majority of the committee would agree with it at this point. We will put these numbers together in a digestible format for Tuesday's meeting.
Yeah, and I think if anybody else, if we have time to go through and look for specifics, line items, that's the time to bring them up.
Yep.
Give the last chance.
It's on Tuesday,
Well, you might want to take a look at it that,
it's your document.
yeah, I mean. We get asked for this, we didn't get it, so this is the best I could do.
Yeah, and I think that's gotta be part of
I'm
our
gonna try to find a
explanation
higher year than
along the
we're
way.
using.
That from the information we were given, this is where we came up with it.
I think we have one with
That's
a
the way-
prior year that's together.
Okay, all comfortable with that? Anything more to come before this meeting?
No, not for this meeting. I think that future planning, as we get through January and February, we need to kind of figure out what we want. We kind of SWOT analysis, what went well this year, what didn't, and then what is our, what do we need for next year, so that we can be more clear in our tasks. So that, what can we do to help the process next year? So after the budget, after everything is done, we need to figure out what we can do as a community so that we can not have all these challenges.
Right, and we can't wait till the fall to do that.
No,
No.
And I have to take the superintendent and business administrator on their word that next year is going to be different. We will pool our knowledge and help that process and find which ways we can. So,
absolutely. I think that if we had standardized documents that we were getting year over year, and it's no, again, it's nobody's fault. This is where we are because of all of the things that have happened in the past. But if we have standardized documents year over year, and there's definitely a communication, we're learning how to communicate with each other. So when we ask for something, sometimes Lori would come back and say, I don't know what you're asking for. And so, so that means that I wasn't clear in my ask, or I wasn't clear in my question. So we need to kind of vet that and kind of figure out what that looks like.
What we need to do is get in front of the system. And see what canned reports exist, because I don't think anything we've been asking for is not a button push. I don't feel like it is.
Anyway. Something's on the docket for
Yeah,
a
next
couple
months away,
months away.
so with new people,
a couple.
new people.
All right, anything else to come before this meeting? Seeing nothing, we'll declare ourselves. Yeah,
Sorry, is there anything with the SRO Langdon thing?
no vote at this time.
We'll talk about it on Monday. That's Tuesday.
I think the board was.
Yeah, we'll revisit maybe. We'll go through, we'll find another 50.
Yep, we'll declare ourselves adjourned at 8:00.